George. Here is your second exercise set for your core. Okay, so we're going to start on our hands and our knees. So the first exercise is what we call the pregnant cat. So keeping a neutral spine position, shoulders over hands, hips over knees. You breathe in, you let your belly fall to the floor. And then exhale and you zipper the tummy up. You want to feel the sort of the space between your two hip bones kind of drawing together, that same sensation of that diamond aspect where we're expanding the diamond with our inhale and we're closing the diamond with our exhale. Let's do 3 more. So just letting the belly open and then pulling the tummy up. And then notice there's no movement in my body. My spine isn't moving, my pelvis isn't moving. And then we're going to add a bit of arm movement to this. So we inhale, belly opens, expands. We exhale, tummy lifts up and in. Find that connection, flow, right arm up. Right arm down, inhale. Exhale, pull the tummy up and in. When you find that deep sensation through the belly, float left arm up. Breathe in, belly expands. And then right arm lifts, trying to stay evenly weighted on both of your knees. Right hand up. Breathe in. Exhale, left arm. Okay, so do about 10 of those, 5 aside, then move on to your legs. You breathe in, belly opens. Exhale, tummy up and in, slide right leg back. Option to keep it down onto the ground, or you can lift your foot up. Bring that right leg back in. I'll shift forward so you can see me. And then exhale, find the tummy lifting, take left leg back. An option, either keep the foot down or you can kick the leg behind you. All right, so do about 10 of those. And then we add the arm and the leg. We take a breath in, expand the belly, exhale, navel to spine, right arm, left leg. Arm back in, leg to the floor. Find that expansion of your belly. Exhale, left arm, right leg. Okay, just alternating from side to side. Breathe before you move. Exhale, contract the belly, then pick arm and leg up. You want to imagine there's a little teacup of hot tea resting on your pelvis. And as you switch right to left, that teacup won't slip off of your pelvis, okay? So start with 10 belly breaths, then do 10 of the arms, 5 aside, do 10 of the legs, 5 aside, and then combine the arms and the legs together. Then we'll flip over onto your back on the mat, grab your band. We'll take the band up around our thighs. Okay, we're gonna lie down. You want your feet to be flat on the mat, and your shin bones should almost be like perpendicular up and down. Anytime we're lying down on our back and we're focusing on another aspect of our body, we want to make sure we're still creating that connection into our abdominals. So yesterday, you really like to kind of keep your hands on your tummy and and guide your ribs together. Okay, so maintain that abdominal connection. What we're doing is we've built the foundation in that first set of exercises from last week, and I'm hoping that you continue to find those deep sensations as we advance in the movement. So I'm not cueing them anymore, but you're still there. You're still gathering the ribs, pulling the diamond, pressing the space between your two hip bones down towards the mat, okay? So maintaining this shape here, feeling even weight on the right and left-hand side of your pelvis. You'll take a breath in, belly opens, exhale, we draw the belly together, we press right leg into bend. Sorry about the cat walking in front of you there. And then we bring that right leg back up. And then we go left leg out. So as we go side to side here, you want to focus on the underside of your pelvis, staying even. So notice when you take your left leg out to the left, notice how the right leg wants to follow, right? The right pelvis, I should say, wants to follow. It wants to lift up off of the floor. Same thing when right leg comes to right, left pelvis wants to lift. So your job is to think less about the leg moving out to the side. I mean, we are working our leg muscles, but this is more about lateral stability. Okay, so let's just go for 4. And 3, the breath work is always inhale to prepare, exhale to move. Once you kind of are able to keep that core contracted, the breath work, you just sort of breathe through these exercises. All right, so now we're gonna come into a back bridge. So keeping a slight press out into the band, squeezing the glutes, we roll the hips up off of the mat. Don't come up any higher than the shoulder blades. And then as you roll down, imagine your spine is like a string of beads, and you're taking each bead and pulling it away from the next, creating space in your spine. Let the tailbone go, so into that pelvic clock action, pulling the tummy in, using the belly to pull the pubic bone up towards the sternum as you lift, really drawing your sitting bones together. And then as you roll down, you keep the action of the pubic bone coming to the sternum as you roll down. Okay, so well, I'll just do one or two more of those. I don't know why this cat is being so snuggly. She is never snuggly. This is very strange. She bites me. Go away. One more time, lift up. So the next one here, we hold the lift. Ribs are zipped together, glutes are squeezed nice and tight. We take the right leg, we press it out without letting that pelvis tip, and then the other side. I like to kind of keep my hands sort of like one finger on my hip bones, one finger on my ribs, and that gives me the sensation, like the feedback as to when my ribs or my hips are not staying stable when they're moving. Okay, so you should start to feel some burn in through the hamstrings and through the glutes. All right, just keeping those legs up. Let's do about, I don't know, do about 10 of those. You can do 2 sets of these if you like, just pulling one knee out to the side. It doesn't have to go very far. You don't have to take the leg out too far. All right, then we'll come all the way down. Okay, we'll keep the band around our legs. We'll float our legs up into tabletop position. I'm gonna turn my body so you can see my feet here. All right, so my feet are up, my pelvis is level, and now I'm gonna take the right leg out to the right. My left leg doesn't move, or I guess on your vision, that's your left leg out to the left, back to center, and then my right leg out to the right. Okay, so a little bit more challenging here, a little bit more open chain, so less feedback for your body. You notice it's a little bit harder to keep those ribs anchored. And we're pulling out to the side, making sure we're not pulling down. Okay, so again, doing about, I'd say about 10 or so of these, like 5 each side. And then we're gonna come out of there. We can take the band off of our legs. We did a little bit of extension work, so rolling over onto your belly. All right, having your hands resting flat onto the floor, your forehead resting flat onto the floor, shoulder blades draw back down along the ribs. We talked a lot about the activation of the abdominals in a prone position. So your abdominal wall pulling up and away from the floor. You get the sensation of your tailbone reaching towards your heels and almost an opening of your hips under here. So I can slide my hand under my belly, no problem. Those shoulder blades wrap back. You have an imaginary marble on the end of your nose. You start to roll the marble away. That lifts your head. Once you've rolled the marble away, your head doesn't lift up anymore. There's no extension of the neck. So it's a rolling of the marble and then an activation of your upper back muscles to peel your chest off of the mat. You feel like you're pulling your ribs away from your pelvis and your pelvis away from your feet, like you're dragging your body to the front of your mat and then rolling yourself back down. So imagine you had no legs and you were trying to crawl to the front of the mat. So you're dragging, almost energetically pulling the arms back. What you should feel here, Georgia, is like an opening of your chest. You should feel like your sternum is getting longer. Feel like there's actually vertebra on your sternum, and you're sort of stretching those vertebrae here. Okay, so we can do some of those, and then we can take the arms up off of the floor, and we can lift with no arms. So a little sort of unleveraged back bridge. It's a little bit harder to maintain the connection of your belly. So only go up as high as you can keep your pubic bone rooting down, your tailbone lengthening into the mat. Right, a little bit of a squeeze of those glutes, working the upper back. Okay, so do about 5 or 10 of each of those. And then bring yourself into like an extended position here. So your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Right, we've got the sensation of the ribs reaching forward, the pelvis reaching forward, bending at the knees. We take a breath in, we exhale, we gather the belly, we pull up into that plank. And then inhale, we come back down. So we're finding a little bit of extension here. And then exhale, press into your hands, press into the elbows. Feel like your pubic bone and your sternum are trying to connect. You're lengthening your low back. And then inhaling back down. Okay, so use the abdominal muscles to pull the pelvis and rib cage together. Exhale to lift. Inhale to open, and getting that same sensation of your belly expanding and then your belly contracting. Okay, so let's do about 10 of those, and then on your 10th one, why don't we hold the plank at the top for 30 seconds. So you'll come up, you'll pause, you'll hold that for 30, keeping the ribs pulled in, keeping the pubic bone reaching towards the sternum. You activate your glutes, you squeeze those glute muscles, okay? And then we can come down, we can release out of there. We're gonna come back onto our back here. Okay, so the next one we went into were the movement in through the legs. So taking your right leg up into tabletop. Now you can do it with a straight leg, but for now we'll do it with a bent knee. And we're just gonna inhale that right leg across, remember that imaginary line from your belly button, and pick your hip up. Okay, and then you come back down, your right hip anchors. Take that right leg out to the right, only go as far as your left pelvis stays anchored. And then pull the right leg up, over to the side, and then back. So do that 5 times. And then come into leg circles. Now, yesterday I had the leg circles were a little bit bigger. I want you to make your leg circles smaller. So make your leg circles so tiny that you can almost not even see your leg moving. And make this about your abdominal muscles. Okay, so working the core to prevent the ribs and the pelvis from moving. Tiny leg circles, all about stability. We'll go 5 in one direction, 5 in the other. And then we'll take that leg down. We'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Left leg lifts. We lift it across the body. We bring it back only as far as your right pelvis doesn't lift off of the floor. And then we come, so 5 of those. We do our tiny little circles. 5 on one side, 5 on the other. Okay, 5 each direction, then grab onto your leg, and then bring yourself up into a seated position. My head's probably gonna cut off of the video here, I'm not sure. Grabbing onto the backs of your legs. We did do this movement earlier in our workout. I'm adding it in now because I forgot that we did it, so it doesn't matter when we do it. You can do it in the beginning of your workout if you want. Sit up nice and tall, stack your spine, you take a breath in, exhale, we roll back. Think about the back moves, and then the pelvis comes with you. And then inhale, we lift. Lifting up through the chest, up through the shoulders, and then exhaling, really pulling the back body back, pubic bone lifting. Okay, so let's do 10 of those. Take a little rest, hands behind the back. You rock the legs side to side after 10. And then you sit up again, you take a breath in, exhale, we come down. Now your arms reach out, we hold them here. This is where we keep the body still. So belly is pulling back. Imagine there's a ball underneath the small of your back and you're pressing into it, and where eye gaze is forward, we inhale, one arm up and down, and then other side. Okay, so let's go for about 8 of these arm raises, 5 each side, and then we come all the way up, and then we come all the way back down. We take both arms out. We inhale, both arms up. Exhale, both arms down. Let's go for 5 of those. Grab onto the backs of your legs, come up. Then we go right into the full roll down. So we sit tall, we stack the spine, arms lift up, and we exhale, we go slow, slow. So feeling every single vertebrae connect into the mat. Tummy pulls in, and then you roll over onto your side, and you bring yourself up. Arms reach out. And we do that again. Exhale down. So navel to spine. Think back moves first, then the pelvis. Connecting into the spine. Keep every vertebrae touching. Roll onto your side and press yourself up. Let's go through that 3 more times for a total of 5. Really going slowly as you come down. So pay attention to your vertebra and every vertebrae that connects into the mat, and try not to miss any of them, working from the bottom of your spine to the top of your spine. So we'll just get up sideways for the next week, and then maybe we can add sort of lifting up without getting up sideways once we start to strengthen your upper core muscles, when we add the towel into those curls, which I think I'm going to leave out until next week. Okay, so to finish off, we take our band, we come and wrap the band back around our legs. Come onto your side, your feet are together. So the first set is just clamshell. So remember when we do our side lying, we have our hips stacked. There's a bit of space underneath our low waistline here, and we lift and lower that leg. Okay, just really wrapping and turning the thigh bone. You want to squeeze the glute, making sure the hip doesn't move with you. That's set number 1. You do 10. Set number 2, you're up like this. Okay, you do 10. Set number 3, You take that top leg, lift it up into the band, turn your leg. So the knee points down, the foot points up. Flex the ankle, squeeze that top glute, and you lift and lower. It's really easy to want to work from the front of your hip, so I want you to physically squeeze your bum and pick the leg up. You can see how little I'm actually moving here. Just trying to activate the muscles in the back of my glutes. All right, so we do 10 of those, and then the last one, you lift the knee, you tap your heel, you lift and you tap. So it's a bit of external, internal rotation, just keeping the pelvis stable. Okay, keeping the ribs hugged in, belly nice and toned. And I'd say on that one, do about 5. Give yourself a moment to rest, and then flip over onto the other side and do the same thing. 10 clamshells with your feet lifted, adding in the external rotation with that little glute raise, foot kicking up to the sky, and then adding the rotation, internal, external at the end, okay? So go through that. I'd say between 5 and 10 reps per exercise, and call me or text me if you have any problems, and I'll see you on Thursday, okay? Ciao.